Hey everybody, Cinema Sick this year, and in this video we're going to take a look at the one title I picked up from Goodwill, and also I'll give you my thoughts on Ip Man 2. So last night, I ran out to my local Goodwill that sells all their VHS tapes for only 10 cents a piece. Unfortunately, they didn't really have all that much to offer, but there was one title that I definitely had to grab, and that was Hamtaro, Adventures in Ham Land, which is apparently the Hamtaro movie, which I've never seen. In fact, when it comes to Hamtaro, I've only ever seen a few select episodes back when it used to run on syndication here in the US. I did watch a few of them, I enjoyed them, but never really got too much into it. So when I came across this, definitely had to pick it up since I was very much interested in checking this out. But best of all, as you can see, this is a Japanese release. There is not one single bit of English on this entire artwork, which is awesome. So for 10 cents, this was a must pick up just for the artwork alone. From what I've read though, this does actually contain English subtitles, so I can watch it, which is great. Definitely looking forward to that. And again, for 10 cents, this was a steal. So that was it for the collection update portion of the video, so now onto what I watched. The last thing I checked out, Ip Man 2, Legend of the Grandmaster. Now, as you guys know, I just recently watched Ip Man. Thought it was a fantastic film, just a great dramatic story with some kick-ass martial arts. Great movie all around. Ip Man 2, on the other hand, it was good. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it if you've seen the first one. But all in all, suffering in the story department. However, the martial arts department, this movie destroyed the first one. About every couple minutes, we get some fantastic martial arts scenes. This movie just was full of just kick-ass martial arts. If you like watching films for all the martial arts, you're going to love the hell out of this movie, even more so than the first one. But unfortunately, like I said, the story does lack a little bit. Whereas the first movie was all about Japan invading China and the whole situation with the war going on and how Ip Man was surviving through that. This movie, the war is over and now China is occupied by Britain. And it's really all about how the British people kind of look upon the Chinese not very fondly. It's basically pretty much straight up just racism. The British people find themselves to be quite superior to the Chinese people, and they pretty much just completely laugh at what they call Chinese boxing, which is just martial arts for the most part, and they think that Western boxing, which is the typical boxing you and I probably think of nowadays, is superior than, again, the Chinese boxing. Of course, we have this boxer who's, you know, huge, thinks he can kick ass, he's the big star boxer of his time. He challenges some people, kicks all their ass, ends up challenging another martial arts master, ends up actually killing him, and Ip Man decides to stand up for his people, stand up for China, and fight this boxer, and in the end, ends up kicking his ass, which you see coming. I mean, obviously, he wins in the end. From what I've read, though, this is very loosely based on true events, even more so than the first one was. As I mentioned, Ip Man, when I read up about it afterwards, it was somewhat truthful. They did embellish some things, make some things up, but apparently this movie, they embellished a hell of a lot more and made a lot more up, so definitely more of a fantasy, so much more than the first one, but it still was enjoyable. The story may have been somewhat more stereotypical, somewhat more obvious in its outcome, and, you know, again, not nearly as good as the great dramatic story the first one was, but it was enjoyable. You were rooting for Ip Man the whole time. You wanted to see this great Chinese man kick the shit out of the dickhead British boxer. I wanted to say that the end battle, though, against the boxer and Ip Man seemed a little, I guess I would say, it didn't seem really realistic in the sense that, yes, the boxer might have had brute strength over Ip Man. I mean, this guy's built, and he's definitely got the strength upper hand, but the fact that you know, some of the punches he's landing, I thought to myself, you know, I don't think Ip Man would have taken those punches, only because after watching the first movie and the whole, you know, maybe hour and a half of this film, you see him constantly dodging punches. Every single, you know, blow that somebody takes against him, he's blocking and dodging and counteracting every single punch and blow. Whereas this boxer, he's landing a ton of hits, actually. And I thought to myself, nah, he would be blocking all them. Like, maybe the boxer would have gotten like 1 or 2 lucky punches because, you know, Ip Man's not used to this style of fighting, but I don't think he would have gotten quite as many punches as he did, and the fact that Ip Man just, he's getting his ass handed to him during this match, I don't think that would have happened quite that way. At least I just find it hard to believe that he can dodge, all these great, every blow from a great martial arts master. He's just kicking all their asses, dodging every single blow. But then you got some dickhead British boxer who's full of it and just swinging crazy punches, and he's hitting them. He can't dodge those. Just seemed a little off, but it was a great scene. Kind of felt very Rocky-ish. He's getting his ass kicked, and of course, in the end, he comes back and destroys the boxer. And then, even at the end, the whole crowd's up on the boxing ring, and he gives him the mic. And I was waiting for him to go like, Adrian. It just seemed like he was about to do it. He didn't, of course, but it really felt like I was watching a Rocky movie at the end. But still, well done, very enjoyable. As I said, not, as far as the story goes, not nearly as good as the first one, but it is an enjoyable watch. It still makes for a good movie. You're going to enjoy it. I would recommend seeing the original Ip Man first, only because this movie does take place directly after Ip Man. It is a literal continuation. The story picks up exactly where we left off in the first movie. So I would recommend seeing that one first, just so you know what's going on. But all in all, a decent story, just not as good as the first one. But if you did like the first one and you like great martial arts, this is definitely one to check out. Hey guys, one last thing before I go on Ip Man 2, because I know somebody out there is going to ask me this, so I figured might as well give my 2 cents on it. And that is, what are my thoughts of the end of the movie where a young Bruce Lee shows up to Ip Man's door? Pretty cheesy, pretty ridiculous. I didn't see it coming, I'll give it that. It definitely surprised me a bit. I didn't expect the movie to end like that, although when, I believe it was, I think Ip Man's like nephew or something like that comes to the door and says, I have somebody here who wants to learn martial arts, I pretty much exactly knew who it was going to be at that point. But like I said, I didn't really see it coming, so it was pretty goofy, again, pretty cheesy, but one of the things I like about both of these movies is they have a little bit of cheese in them. Not to the point where it makes the movies actually cheesy. They're not cheesy movies, but they do offer a little bit of cheese that just kind of gives you a little bit of a throwback to the classic martial arts films. So while you watch these movies, you're watching a modern day movie, but with just a little bit of like some winks and nods to classic martial arts films. So you're constantly thinking about them in the back of your head while you're watching, again, a modern-day movie, and I absolutely love about these films. So the little bit of cheesiness that we get here and there, I think works for the movies. Also, one thing I read is that originally Ip Man 2 was supposed to focus more around Ip Man and his relationship with Bruce Lee. That was the whole point of the movie originally. That was the original plot of the film. But apparently they had some issues getting the rights from Bruce Lee's estate. They couldn't, they had to get basically permission to do this story, and I think some things fell through. They weren't able to get the permission, so they had to do the movie they did instead. But I liked the fact that they did throw him in at the end. It does set things up. It is pretty cheesy. For those of you who haven't seen it, I guess a little bit of a spoiler here, but young Bruce Lee shows up, says he wants to learn martial arts. Ip Man asks him why, and he says, because I want to, like, basically beat up those people who I don't like. And Ip Man laughs at him and says, come back when you grow up. And of course, we all know the story that comes from that. Obviously, Bruce Lee trained with Ip Man, and that's where he learned his martial arts from. So, a pretty ridiculous ending, pretty goofy. We do end the movie, again, on a pretty cheesy, goofy note, but I liked it. I thought it was okay. It gave me a laugh, but not so much in a way where I, like, roll my eyes, where I actually thought it was pretty funny in a goofy sort of way. So, I liked ending the movie on a laugh. We just watched some people get the shit kicked out of them. We watched some great martial arts. Watched a bunch of people be extremely racist against the Chinese. Hey, why not end the movie on a goofy little laugh? I thought it worked. So that's just my thoughts on Bruce Lee showing up at the end of the film. It was okay. Didn't need to be done, maybe not, but still enjoyable. So that's it, guys. Definitely excited about picking up that Hamtaro VHS tape. Again, that is really, really cool. Has some fantastic Japanese artwork. I mean, I actually had to look up the title of the movie. I had to type in the UPC on the back just to see what the actual title of the movie was, because, like I said, there's not a single bit of English on the artwork or even on the VHS tape. I think inside the case it says VHS, and that's it. That's the only bit of actual English anywhere on the whole tape, and that is just awesome. I love it. I love that great Japanese artwork. Just looks really, really cool. And for 10 cents, like I said, it was definitely a steal. I cannot wait to sit down and check it out. Hopefully it is subtitled, as I did read about online. I really hope that is the truth, because otherwise, I guess I won't be watching it, and then I'll just be having it for collecting purposes. And also watching Ip Man 2, loved it. I thought it was a good movie. You know, again, not nearly as good as the first one, because the first one had that great dramatic story. But the story in this one, you know, yeah, it was a bit more stereotypical, but it still was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable story. It certainly worked. You were rooting for Ip Man the whole time. Again, you wanted to see China overpower the UK, and it just made for an all-around decent story that, you know, again, may not have been as good as the first one, but was still good in of itself. Also has some fantastic martial arts. You get a ton of great martial arts scenes in that movie. So, as I said, for that reason alone, it is definitely worth checking out. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my next video. See ya.